Why are you enraged by my acrobatics? Blinding. Oh, I don't like whatever I did to him. I think I licked his balls. I don't want to deal with your brother right now. Hacking up your butt cheeks. Gonna make a sandwich.
Well, I'm hacking up my lung.
No, get away from me. Oh, he is already broken. I am having that noodle. I have to climb up on his head in order to grab him.
Recruit.
Hello, Bone Licker. You're gonna live up to your name.
Wow.
All right, get out of here before your brother does something. Flee.
Flee, flee for your life.
All right, no licking for your bones. I'll do something else. Kicking, maybe. Hey, this is a great idea. Don't you get the sense that people are tired of cheap crap?
I do. I think that
They just don't know that they don't know how to get quality.
The cultural shift is
But they want it.
happening because I do believe even that there's a return to the old way of
Bye.
doing things too. That's why you see so many. There's kind of a wave of people, especially homeowners, new homeowners, that are now doing.
I am
kind of
just
a
speed
homestead
bagging this man's undercarriage.
that are doing the whole homesteading thing, which I think is again a return to saying we want to be self-sufficient without all the nonsense and frill. I did not think that I was going.
You dumb cow!
Dick.
You party animal, you. That didn't last long. I defied death for all of 2 seconds.
I'm gonna go cut this man's scrot. I think I've made that joke before.
I'm grabbing all your stuff. Gotta find a way to bury your junk fast. Burying your stuff already.
I think you old like dirt.
I was quoting that very video. But I just think it applies to everything, though. It applies to CGI. Here's a good example. You brought up the work thing, and this is something I've noticed. Back in the day, a set of architectural drawings was hard to do because you had to do it by hand.
Right.
And every single thing that was on the paper came from someone's hand. Therefore, unless you were grossly incompetent, your drawings were going to be pretty all right. Because if you were paying attention, nothing was going to end up on the paper you didn't intend. Because you had to put it there by hand. Nowadays, most of it, if not all of it, is by computers. So I've seen so much stuff where it's like it just gets automatically populated.
No, that's true. And most of the errors occur, because I experienced this in telecommunications. Most of the errors occur when it's like, we don't know how that got there. Shouldn't be a vault there. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
And but it's just like that happened because you used a computer to do this.
Right.
And therefore, some of, if not most of, what ends up on the page wasn't decided by a person. It was just decided by a program. And I think this is why, to bring it back in a weird sort of, I'll circle back.
To what, tech?
No, this is why I actually really like, I've become somewhat infatuated, again, no small part due to Arcane, with animation as an art form, because animation requires that. Nothing ends up in the frame that some artist doesn't put there.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not to say that a live action sequence can't have the same amount of thought put into it and end up as richly cinematic or artistic or whatever word you want to use.
Well, I think it depends.
It's just
I mean, Stephen Knight obviously puts a very high pressure on each shot. You know,
and but it requires a much more scrutinous eye to do that, because if you're not careful, some of reality will seep in.
Yeah.
It's like the famous the Game of Thrones final season when there was a Starbucks cup in one of the scenes that no one caught. It wasn't actually a Starbucks cup, but it was some kind of coffee cup that shouldn't have been there.
Well, have you seen the
and
one
they got roasted for it?
The Caribbean, where it's like literally some random guy with a cowboy hat on the ship. It was like a key grip. No, like full on. He was in like jeans, a t-shirt, and a cowboy hat.
I've never seen this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to pull it up.
But it's like that happens when you're using live action, because even unless you like pull a Stanley Kubrick and you're going to micromanage every single thing that's in the frame, there's a chance that something from reality is in the shot you didn't intend, because you weren't putting every single thing in the frame. With animation, nothing ends up in the frame that you didn't put there. So you can, again, not everyone does, but you can go as psychotically detailed as the Fortige people do, because you're going, someone's got to be paying attention to everything that's in the frame, so we might as well give it all we got. We might as well put as much detail as we can into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is harder to do, but again, it's like when you're animating the way they animate, it doesn't actually take much more effort than doing it at all. Because again, I mean, you could just say you have an animate with, a still background and nothing in it, and that would be easier, but it wouldn't be very interesting. So if you're going to put the effort into putting all of the various details in the background, you might as well make them mean something.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's just that it's a new universal law that as things get easier, they get worse, which I still think that it seems a little bit counterintuitive. Because I think...
I really do think
the narrative
it's a value structure question, in my opinion. But
I'm not sure about that, because I don't think effort alone equals value.
No, but...
That's a slightly communistic argument.
Expertise and required knowledge being more specialized and
See, you don't want
esoteric.
You don't want to end up in a hipstery place where it's like...
No, but I mean, bespoke is good for a reason.
Well, yes, but it's good because of the skill, not just because it's some specialist.
Sure.
Because the example would be, Adam Savage talks about this, where he's saying, really, the only three elements of any creation, of any craft, is it's either, you have time, you have cost, and you have quality. Those are the three... Ingredients isn't necessarily the right word, but it's like those are the three components, sure. And generally, if you're lacking in one, you can make up for it in the other. So you could have absolutely no clue about luthiery, just picking a random example.
Sure.
But if you spent 5 years, you could probably build a really nice guitar from scratch, knowing nothing about how to do it, just from research.
Well, Brian May's a great example of
research, obviously probably making lots of mistakes. And eventually you'll have a really great product. It's not because you had expertise, it's because you just put in the work.
Right.
Now, expertise means you could make the same quality product faster. Or money is the other example, where it's like if you have a lot of money to spend, you could make the same quality product faster. But it's really just comes down to how much effort did you put in. So it's not even necessarily expertise, because expertise isn't what guarantees the product's quality. It's just what makes it quality faster or cheaper. Like you said, a person who knows what they're doing could make a really great product out of less than great materials because their expertise overcomes the lack of material.
Right.
Or in time, you could say they can do it much faster than someone who has less skill because they know how to make it faster.
I'm just saying...
But it isn't just, well, this guy has expertise, therefore what he makes is good.
I think
it's just good old-fashioned, give it a good old-fashioned elbow grease.
Well, yeah, but I think accessibility is a factor in this, in that if like I said, with construction, and people can be offended if they want, but I've worked with construction enough that, well, I've been a contractor, so I know what it's like, and the bottom line is it takes a lot less expertise than A, it used to, and B, than people even give them credit for. It's like,
well, but is the reason people don't give them credit is because now there's so many that don't deserve it.
Well, that's possible, but then they need to change that narrative by actually bringing some craftsmanship.
Yeah, but the problem is then they would have to charge more, and then a customer is going to
have to actually pay more.
Well, yeah, but that's the problem is now I think we come back to your argument of this is why I think they're tangential, even though they're not the same exactly, is... That's the cheap aspect where people go, well, if I can get it cheaper elsewhere, I will.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an eye for quality.
Well, they don't see the value. Like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know that I will ever own a Rolex. However, I am not.
What is the cheapest Rolex?
Like,
are they still
$1.5
absurdly
grand
expensive?
to? I mean, it's not.
That's actually not terrible.
No, it's not terrible. I
don't know what I'm doing anymore.
I don't presume to fool myself into thinking, this other watch that's an homage watch is just as good. It's like, well, that's a dumb argument, because the reality is when you actually pick up a Rolex and look at a Rolex and feel the movement of a Rolex and the way that it winds and all this kind of thing, there is very much a value stack, and there's a value, what is it called? Increase.
You dumb cow.
You, okay.
Cheated death? Who are you?
That's that same guy.
Didn't I decapitate you? That ain't cheating death, pal. That's just plain cheating.
That's just plain necromancy.
Well, I suppose we're in the right realm for necromancy. I will stick this sword.
Brother, then it's necrophilia.
Okay. You threw me off. You did throw me off for real. Ooh. I don't like what he's gonna do. Well, I've been playing for a long time. You should take this. Please don't die. Ew. He's smothering me. Well, that's stupid.
Is that 3 times I've killed you, or 2?
I've killed you once. So, well, what about that? I'm just saying, people need
The Lord.
to demand, well, that too, but they need to demand better.
Well, that's certainly true.
But the problem is,
We've talked about that with boots, though, too. 'cause
yeah,
we
well,
were-
where it's like if you, and it's the thing that makes it so frustrating is if you demanded better, you could have it cheaper.
Well, because
I watched a
capitalism,
video.
obviously.
Yeah, well, I watched a video. It was that same boot channel who cuts boots in half.
Yeah, it's
And he talked about the standard issue World War II Army boots.
yeah.
And he's
that's
going,
the
these...
jungle boot. That's
and
what
he's
I
like,
have.
these equivalent... Well, no, yours are from Vietnam.
Well, that's true, but they're
but it's-
still a jungle boot.
Well, no, not the World War II ones.
No.
But
he
he's
also
saying,
did the jungle boot.
and he's saying, and analyzing these, he's going, these would probably be, in the modern day, these would be equivalent to probably among the higher quality boots.
Right.
And you might think, well, that's a little bit odd. I mean, obviously the U.S. government's always had money to burn, but you'd think that they wouldn't necessarily be buying the equivalent of like $600 pairs of boots for every soldier. But he's going, back in the day, they wouldn't have cost that much. Obviously, not just because of inflation. Even adjusted for that, they would have cost less because just boot making was a bigger industry.
Right.
Because there were more manual laborers who needed boots, and B, boots had to be made by hand. So every town would basically have a cobbler on almost every corner.
You got to go to Gareth the bookshelf. bro.
Because that was just the job. And so because handmade boots were a larger demand because of the labor force, but also there were more people skilled in that work because of the fact that it was just how the work got done. Whereas nowadays, like 80% of all boots probably come from one factory in China, and the high quality brands have to charge a premium because their market share is so low. And it's like if everyone bought nicer boots from these higher quality brands, then they could lower their prices because there'd be more demand. The problem is there's less demand because people aren't willing to pay that price. And so you end up with an awkward situation where it's like, okay, yeah, they have to charge $600 for one pair of boots because only like 1,000 people are going to buy them this quarter. Whereas a company that can produce 10,000 pairs of boots per month, because that's, they can charge way less because they're going to have guaranteed sales. Here's your guy. And it's just, it's one of those frustrating things where I wouldn't have to spend so much for nice boots if everyone was willing to pay for nice boots. Then the cost for all of us could come down. But funnily enough, this is actually something Ayn Rand addresses in one of her essays about capitalism. Because you might think, what? I don't like that he's rubbing it in. The code gave him a lucky break. I don't know why he gets to feel smug about it. But she makes a comment that some people, because ultimately, if you're going to take a libertarian approach, you have to look at the screen and press the button it tells you.
Well, I know that. I'm saying it's the weird roll that I never can...
Well, yeah, because not always the button that they flash is not always the usual counter button. from a libertarian approach, the argument she takes is you might be someone who values, high-class literature, for example. And you might be annoyed that high-class literature is a little bit rarer and costs more to buy. And you might see the sort of dime store, like those pulp novels, essentially, from that era. And you think, well, this is a illegitimate, or maybe not illegitimate, but a inferior form of literature. So it's annoying that this is cheaper and this is more popular. I think people should read higher class literature because that's what's more valuable. And the problem is, you can't go tell Joe the plumber from down the street that he has to read Dostoevsky.
Well, that's true.
It's like, if he likes his dime store novels, who are you to tell him he has to spend more money on something he doesn't want? And that's the annoying thing, is it's like, well, yeah, I wish people would spend more money on nice quality boots, because then nice quality boots wouldn't cost so much, and I could have them for less than $600. But I can't tell people what boots they should want. I mean, there is a part of me that still wants to, because it seems like objective reality. I suppose with literature you could certainly make the argument of taste.
Well,
that,
sure.
If
you've got bad
you could
taste,
argue
this
that
is where, though, you come back into
but taste,
you could actually used to be able to argue like you have bad taste, and it's not some sort of sneak between his britches.
Yes, I don't disagree, but I think it is looser because art is always going to be subjective.
Sneak.
Whereas, but there is a part of me that says, well, okay, but like objectively speaking, though, these boots are superior. There's no reason for inferior boots. Like, it's not a matter of I mean, I suppose if you're saying, well,
are you?
Probably, you've done it enough. I don't want to play again. I want to break as long as I gave you a break for. Hey, you got him. Don't die. He's close.
Yeah, but he also
hack his Johnny. No. Ooh. So I don't know. There is a part of me that just says, but it's objectively better. Other than, I suppose, on price. If price is the only consideration, but I just feel like that's it bothers me. It's the part of you that says, I almost wish I could enforce on you higher standards than you have, because they'd be good for you. Taking the universal dad approach. Just I want better for you than you want for yourself.
Well, yeah. Oh, really?
Is he death-defying again? And then he'll be gone. He trundled off to the corner and now
away. The
he did.
putz.
I'd use stronger language than that.
You guys want some of this? Because now I'm just ticked off.
Because I got plenty extras. Guy I was gonna give it to left. So yeah, this is far more fruitful. Last time we danced around the edges and then gave up.
I'm just gonna drain him to death. I feel extra spiritual today.
I'm feeling a little bit sadistic.
It's a bit vampirous. I don't know that you can use that as a verb.
Vampiric
but I did.
would be the
vampiric
would be the adjective.
Are you sure?
Yes. I mean, I've heard that. I don't know how correct it is grammatically speaking. Have we gone through all of it? I feel like, because it annoys me that it's everywhere. It's in CGI. What?
That's him.
Is it him? It does look like him. So help me if he defies death 3 times in a row.
It's the same freaking guy.
It is!
That maybe you're outmatched.
He's just watching me over his...
Oh, no, he ran away this time. You didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. I thought you had killed him and he was back again. In that case, I suppose it does make sense. He trundled off. He had to have been close.
Sneak between your legs and chop your butt. Don't be afraid and don't... You not... That's the only thing that came to mind. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
It was. That was awful. You've cost us our PG rating. Well, thanks for lowering the tone. Having a good conversation about why people should expect more from life. Then again, who am I to tell Joe the plumber that he's got bad taste and should spend his money on better things?
Oh, what?
Well, it wasn't even the big guy. Wow.
That's
Tuca.
nonsense.
Tuca? He's got a Zuko haircut. Can we call him Zuko?
It'd be nice if you could rename orcs. Keith, darn it, change your name.
That would completely blow our strategy out of the water.
That's true. But I don't know that our strategy is particularly fruitful.
I would look at our roster and find lots of fruit. There is some great much fruit in our roster. And I'm not just talking about the names. Yeah, he gets to level up now after having been dead. Well, we still got some time to fill. Are the depths plumbed?
I'm wanting to plumb his depth, but I can't.
I mean, you could ultimately blame it on consumerism. This is, I think, what Ayn Rand's point in the essay was.
Well,
That someone
that was
was
my
essentially
point,
trying
too.
to make the point that's like, capitalism isn't the problem. And in fact, I think I made this argument in a previous video that capitalism is not the problem the way a lot of liberals think it is. It's consumerism that I'll agree is more of a problem. Because all capitalism is the I guess, axiom. That's him again,
Where?
behind you.
Oh, you.
All that capitalism is basically a system that rewards value for money. Meaning, money will flow where people are going or willing to spend it. That's not an inherently wrong system. The idea that money should flow, because ultimately that's what her argument is. If you criticize Joe the plumber for spending money on cheap stuff, it's like, well, you could make the argument that he shouldn't be allowed to because that cheap stuff isn't worth the money. And therefore, you're now having to dictate what things are and aren't worth the money. But that's now no longer a capitalist argument. You know, you're attempting to enforce some kind of controls on the market. And the argument is, who are you to suggest that this guy has to spend his money that he earns on something that he doesn't want? And I guess I found it a bit challenging because I do think that consumerism is a problem on a cultural level, but I do agree that you don't fix it via economic policy because I suppose because you can't and because you don't have a right to. But the question is, on a cultural level, how do you train people out of a consumerist mindset? And the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Ideally, by
you could
example.
somehow show them that they could have better things if they were willing to pay for
Well,
them.
I think obviously having video or channels like that guy that cuts boots apart. I mean, it's trying to show people like
But I
this.
feel
is what
like that
actual
only
quality
appeals
looks
to
like.
the people who are looking for that stuff. There's always going to be people who research their purchases carefully. Woo! You stuck that right up him. He's got two of them.
My time is up.
Is it actually?
Is it this
'Cause I'm about
time?
to cut
Is it for real?
more than just your scrot. You're going all the way, sir.
All the way
From stem to stern.
to freaking Perineum Town. Up it goes. Bifurcate that. Keep that head with you. Bury it underground or something. Make sure he doesn't come back.
Freaking nickname him Lazarus.
I'm
Get back over here, you.
not finished with you.
You're the one that was shooting me. Done. Off. Just for good measure. I want to make sure you guys know that I mean business. Now, where's that other jerk that shanked me with a spear?
I don't know. Tuca? I guess if you're just on a vengeance quest.
I am. Which is uncharacteristically Jinx-like.
I don't know that she's that much vengeful.
That may be true. Maybe just...
More impulsive.
That's a good word
Vengeance
for
is a
it.
premeditated thing. but I don't know how you convince people that what they really want is better stuff. Because I think, like I said, I think people know that on a subconscious level. I think people crave better things. They just don't. Honestly, it almost feels like they just don't believe they can have them.
Well, that's actually true.
And it's like, but you can. But you just have to be willing to save.
Or be the one to figure it out and actually make it.
Well, that too.
Like,
But
that's
if you're willing
how...
to either put in the effort to make it or just put in the effort to save to buy
No,
a better
I'm saying
thing.
like the idea of, for instance, any entrepreneur that goes, hey, this isn't a thing in this capacity that I want it in, so I'm going to be the first one to do it.
Well,
Because surely somebody is going to want it like I do.
I mean,
That's also a part of capitalism, in my opinion.
true, but I think in certain industries it is. I mean, entrepreneurship generally only succeeds when you have
Brass.
and well, I mean, yes, but not just that. It's you have to have an idea that is not yet in the market, but that the culture is ready for. And that's a difficult thing to time because obviously Apple didn't invent the touchscreen, but they produced it at the time
Again, accessibility.
when culture was ready for it. And it's like that's
The orc is close.
the orc is close. He's under the rafters.
He's here under the floorboards. Telltale heart level stuff.
That was a good one. So it's not just it isn't. So you don't just say, "Hey, I've got an idea for a product that I want, and I'm going to force a market niche for it." It's like, well, that may not work. You have to have. It has to be new enough that no one else is doing it, but not so new that people don't understand it. And that's what really takes the intuition.
Well,
But because it's like it's not. I don't know that the solution to the problem of boots costing too much is another company that makes boots.
You shouldn't have come here.
Because
Have you
the reason that
Well,
there's
you'd have to figure out a way to do something unique in the market, which is like, okay, how can I source material better?
well,
How
yeah. I
can
mean, the argument would be, can you produce equal quality boots for less? And I suppose if
can
you
you
have
produce-
some,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those.
he's going to do it again. What kind of weird pale stripper are you? He's for the vampire fetishists. That is part of it. Is can you produce the same thing as someone else but cheaper? But that's, I don't know. I mean, I think the reason that there's only three of like the three high quality boot manufacturers is basically because quality demand.
Time obviously is.
Well, yeah, but it's like the quality is always going to be centralized because, like I said, these people are going to be the best at making boots because they.
Oh, you.
Ooh, what? Ooh. I think you might have two of them now.
starting to bore me, maggot?
Duke of the Swift split you in twain.
Tore my.
So it's like if you were, I don't think
buns asunder.
if you were going to try and say, hey, I want boots for less than $600, I'm going to start my own boot making company. It's like, well, chances are you're not.
You'd have to build connections within the industry that were, again. Okay, I'll take. Have you seen American Gangster?
I don't think so.
It's the one with Denzel.
Oh, I've seen
He's
clips of it, I think.
Basically, the way he becomes a gangster, or becomes like the kingpin, is he goes, well, I have a connection to be able
saying
to
I'm going to do this mission, and I never do.
heroin for cheaper by going directly to the source and essentially bypassing the middleman, and so I'm going to.
Well,
you
yeah,
see that in a
but
lot
there's a lot of
industries.
companies that do that now.
Sure.
Where it's
that's
like,
true.
hey, we just sell directly to consumers. We don't go through a wholesaler, and that means we can save money.
And
But
eventually, I find that those companies sell out, which is annoying.
even if they don't, it's just.
Like, for instance, I like Dr. Squatch, but originally they were direct to consumer. Now they're not. And I'm like, well, the price
Well,
is.
the problem is that is a difficult. There's a reason why
Why
You
is it
have
an untenable
middlemen.
business model? I don't understand.
I don't think it's untenable. I think it's just it requires.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, it means you have to be the infrastructure rather than relying on someone else's infrastructure. And infrastructure is one of the most expensive parts of a business.
I suppose that's true.
So, hi, excuse me.
You just totally like clothesline that guy with your sword. Hi, let me just cut your neck real quick.
I don't know where I'm going. Where am I going? So I mean, but see, I think there's also an element of market stabilization over time where I don't think the reason high quality boots are so expensive is because they're inefficiently produced. I think they're produced as efficiently as they can be.
Maybe.
And it's just the market demand isn't high enough because people would rather buy cheap boots.
Well, the other argument is saturation of the market within a globalized market versus the,
globalism sucks for everybody.
right. Like if you back when we had
Back
like local
when you had a cobbler on every street, you could
Exactly.
have handmade boots for cheap because not for cheap, but for a more reasonable price than they are now.
which is interesting because that's honestly the way that stuff like this is a bit of a stretch.
Parochialism, bring it back.
But like Starbucks, Dutch Brothers, those kinds where yes, they're
Yeah.
corporation, but they consistently like put one sometimes literally on the same street, just like 3 blocks down, and it's like I mean people go,
Wait, but that's the problem. Why do
And
people
so-
go?
but no, what I'm saying
'Cause
is
they don't have enough
back in the day
standards.
when there was a cobbler on every street, you could have been one of those cobblers, and it wouldn't have been like
Yeah, you're not competing with a factory in China
right, exactly,
because of course they can do it cheaper because they don't pay their people.
and their leather's trash.
Gonna be made out of someone's infant.
Wow. Okay, if I removed our PG rating, that just did something.
Oh well, I mean we're certainly not going to air in China.
Put us on some sort of list with Elon Musk.
I don't think Elon's pro-China.
I'm okay. What was your thought about that whole gesture?
I honestly, I'll
sad.
take you one further. I wouldn't care if it was deliberate, because because first off, I think it's clipped out of context. Because you could photograph any person making a gesture similar to that. But I'm also at the point where it's like, okay, I don't think the man holds those views, so I don't think the gesture is the concern. People put way too much stock in it's like, you can't do that gesture because bad people did that. It's like, yeah, but the gesture was not the bad thing that people did. I'm sorry. I don't think you can just say, oh, well, no one's allowed to do that anymore because a bad group of people once did it. That was their thing, so now no one else can do it. It's like, well, that's not what made those people bad. Doing this is not the thing that was the problem. So even if it had been a deliberate thing, it's like, okay, but it doesn't concern me until it actually, morally wrong things are happening. I don't know. But I also I didn't follow it at all because I honestly just don't care. It's one of those things that's like, this is so not important. This is not the issue at hand.
Gondor's lowlands could easily forget how close to
It's a map. I've got a better version in my room.
Gondor's people devote more than a moment's thought to its borders.
This doesn't even look accurate.
For them, the threat of
But
Mordor
yeah,
is distant.
I don't know.
how do you make people... I think the problem is you're essentially what we're talking about, really, if you dig down deep enough, is you're having to try and cope with human greed. Because people want things, and if they can get those things cheap, then they will want those things, even if they could get a better version that's more expensive. They could get 2 less versions and have more things if they spent less on each one. And you might try to tell them that that's a flawed way of doing it, but if all they're concerned about is having things, they probably don't care.
What quest is this?
I think these were our past life quests as Bimbo.
This bimbo.
Have I got all of them? Let our foes fortify. Let them summon scabrous serpents. Or hordes. Serpents. Have an army that will show up in such as... Whoa. Yay, I'm a poet. Were you aware of that?
Wow.
Our foes fortify with iron.
That was...
Let them summon scabrous serpents.
I can't tell whether that was clever or just stupid.
That's the needle arm thread in life.
Such weapons.
What about putting a needle in your arm?
What? I didn't say anything about arm.
Needle arm thread in life.
I said that's the needle I'm threading
Oh,
in
I'm
life.
threading in life.
Hello. Did you build statues to yourself in your own crypt, bro? It's just a touch narcissistic, don't you think?
He does say, "You will suffer me now."
I guess. He called himself the Bright Lord. Is that it? I opened up the crypt and that's it for me.
You did it. It's done. Get back into the crypt.
Can I open the crypt?
Oh,
Hey,
can't
I got
do
an
that.
idea. How about you possess your own corpse for a while? Lay my corpse down to rest. We'll swapsies. Put my body in here. Your body can go out and fight. Alright, well, I did it. Now I'm going to do that thing I said I was going to do a long time ago. I forgot what it was.
I don't know.
I'm going to do a
Coming
quest
to
for
the
God Door. Let's do something good for the world. I got to go to Saragost.
Meet me in Saragost, honey. Meet me at the fair.
I don't... Okay. It was not the St. Louis song, was it?
It was.
That didn't seem like the right rhythm.
It was.
Well, okay. Where's Saragost? Where's the blacksmith? Okay, Saragost. Can I fast travel to Saragost? I can. Well, how would you do it? If you could re-educate people into liking nice things, how would you do it?
Would say, I will change the minds of everyone willing.
I would
And then after
taste
that,
them.
I will say, I will change the minds of those unwilling.
Anytime you have a thought about wanting something inferior, I'll shock you.
Yeah, that'll work. Adverse negative reaction.
Gonna have a generation of people, every time they look at a McDonald's, they feel instant pain. Because that's the thing, I'm not above a McDonald's. I mean, I'm a little above McDonald's. I'm not above a Taco Bell. You know, I'm not going to try to act like Taco Bell shouldn't exist just because it isn't fine dining. But that's the problem. But see, even there's still a part of me that I can acknowledge that on a subjective taste where it's like, obviously Taco Bell's not fine dining, but sometimes Taco Bell's fine. Sometimes I'm in the mood for Taco Bell. But is anyone really in the mood for cheap boots? I know it was going to seem very strange that we're harping on boots. You could substitute for any manufactured object that you find more compelling. But my point is I can concede that subjectively you might say, as I might say, hey, I like sometimes when I'm in the mood for Taco Bell is the only thing that will scratch the itch. You know, I don't always want a fancy gourmet meal. Sometimes I just want a burrito.
Well, I will say this. When I was working pest control, cheap boots actually were...
I was working pest control. I thought a lot about Taco Bell.
Cheap boots actually did save me.
All those rats I was killing going, I'm
because
settling these to
think
Taco
about
Bell.
Going underneath houses and basically stepping in sometimes human feces.
Yeah, but if it was good boots, they'd hold up for that. You just give them a
Would,
clean.
But no, like I don't want to wear a pair of Knicks underneath the house.
Yeah, but see I think that's you're adding an element that's unreasonable.
No, I'm adding an element that says this is the
yeah,
reason
but-
why people may actually like cheap boots.
I still consider it flawed because the point is You shouldn't.
reason is why people would say, I don't want to wash the dishes, therefore I'm going to use paper dishes because it's easier.
Yes, but that's also a very, for lack of a better term, it's a very bachelor-esque attitude.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure. I don't think it's the right way to live. I forgot how to play these mini games. Who are you? You look an awful lot like one of my guys. Do I know who he even is? He hasn't given me a monologue.
He's about to know who you are.
Does he have a name? But I am never going to be one of those people, because that's the kind of attitude that says, yeah, I bought, you know, a $100 pair of Jordans and I never wear them outside. Because if they
Sure,
get
that's
dirty,
fair.
that'll diminish. It's like, because again, you're not buying them. That's almost it's obviously not the same as buying a fake, something that's cheap that looks fancy. It's something that is fancy, but for the wrong reason. And that's almost worse. Because the point of boots is,
Enjoy it.
yeah, the point of boots is that you wear them to protect your feet.
Yeah.
If you are now more concerned about the boots than you are about your feet, something's wrong. So if you're saying, I wouldn't wear them under this context because they'll get dirty, and it's like, well, but okay, but the point for the Knight's boots isn't that they're going to look nice forever, it's that they're going to last forever. And I mean, hopefully they would look decent while they do that. But the point isn't that they look good, primarily. The point is that they endure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit like, I'm very much of the kind of person who it's like, if I don't like the idea of buying things just for the status of them, or for the, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
Grab his noodle.
Get up, come on, don't you do it. He's literally dying. Granted, so am I. You son of a gun! You're half dead! Get you back here. You great big pig snout. Well, I've been derailed. I was talking about boots. Taco Bell. Oh, yeah, it's just, I don't like the idea of saying I have something I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's just, you've robbed the thing of its purpose.
Yeah.
I'd like to view things teleologically.
Sure.
So it's like, yeah, and I don't care if... It's like, I don't know, I also think there's people who collect and restore classic cars and then just never drive them, or only drive them when the weather's
that's a
nice.
little weird.
And I recognize that there's practical considerations about, you know, everyday driving a classic car. But if you like classic cars, why is that an unreasonable thing?
Why not enjoy?
Like, yeah, I understand that they're not as efficient and they don't have the same safety things and all that. It's like, okay, sure, but what do you like about old cars? If it's not those things. If you don't like the fact that they're old cars, then why are you collecting old cars? Is it just that they're aesthetic? I guess that's not an invalid reason, but it isn't. It is not the reason that aligns with the purpose of the object.
Sure.
I guess you could say, yeah, I collect.
Stamps.
Well, even then, the argument would be that stamps are collected for the sake of display.
Which is not their purpose.
I suppose it's not their purpose, but stamps do have artwork on them for a reason. Like, stamps don't have to be art, but they are. So to collect them as art is not totally out of their purpose. Yes, they're not meant for post, I suppose. But, I mean, if you're going to have classic cars you don't drive, I just don't get that. It's like collecting fine art that you use for wallpaper. It's like, okay, well, even that's not a great example because it's still being displayed in that case. It's just, I guess I can't tell you you're wrong if that's what you want to spend your money on, but it does seem to me like you're betraying the purpose of the object. Like I said, you want to let things be what they are and you want to use them for what they are. So if I had a classic car, I would drive it every day. Or maybe not every day, but often enough. If it was my only car, obviously I would have to drive it every day. But it's just like, why wouldn't you? If you have a fancy antique teapot, why don't you serve tea out of it?
Yeah.
It's like I don't grasp the idea that says, well, I bought it because I guess the thing is, it sounds odd to say this, but I guess I'm not won over by the aesthetic of things. Because
Sure, that's fine.
I would think that I am, because I have an aesthetic sense. I certainly have aesthetic opinions.
Well, but that can't be.
But there's just something about it that's like, I don't grasp the idea of buying a thing you don't use, even if it does look nice. Why not buy something you'll use that looks nice? I'm all about that. If you have something that you're going to use, make it look as nice as it can look. I'm totally in favor of that, but don't let the look of something prevent you from using it. That's just weird to me.
Good work, boys. We got a
Shaka.
armed crowds of defenders.
Trollborn, you kind of look it, pal.
Pigskin.
I'm going to hope you're susceptible to arrows through the bonds. Well, he fell off his thing. Now we'll make his thing fall off. Get away from me, shield bro. I'm not here for you. In fact, I'm not here for any of you. You guys started this. Well, I suppose we can consider these depths plumbed. Although I guess we haven't got a solution, but I'm not sure there was one. There is one. Other than re-education camps. Be an odd kind of re-education camp, though, wouldn't it? It's for your betterment. You want more expensive boots. Why is he suddenly dodgy? Let me hack his gams. Thank you. Alright, anybody else want some? I've got gams for everyone. Get your Christmas gam. I don't know what part of the body the gams are, actually.
It's the legs.
Okay, I thought it was something like that. I was afraid perhaps I was doing inadvertent misogyny. Alright, let's see what this mission even is. Do I even want to do it? I've spent all this time getting here. What is it? Who's that?
Oh yeah, this is the weird.
I got Dorians died during the fall of Minas Tirith. Okay, let's see how long this
This
takes.
is the one we're playing as the two different chick and the
I don't remember.
chimp and the bug.
Well, I don't remember playing as a chick or a chimp.
It's the blonde and the black guy.
The blonde and the tall brunette and dream about liverwurst. Hello. I'm not wearing my right clothes.
Oh there. I don't know. You survived.
It was an awfully
How did you find
calm
me?
response.
Oh, it was easy. I just followed the trail of dead orcs.
I followed that stench. Your corpse is rotting.
Did she escape Minnesota? We were ambushed. I lost.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember this
Many of
plot,
our
I
brothers were
suppose.
captured. Some remained
I thought we
hiding.
stopped caring.
Sauron's armies continue to hunt us. Idril is resourceful, but no one survives in Mordor for long. We have a way out. I just need to find her, and whoever's left.
It's got a slight sad,
Then we must
sacky
fight more.
face. Yeah, I don't know. Your face stinks,
Some
sort of
our
like.
soldiers were sighted in this encampment. Tread lightly. We must be careful.
Well, I figure we'll only give this a single try. If I don't do it now, we'll do it later.
If we can't, we won't.
Oh, we're getting up to the, Hi, don't mind me. Just stroll up, cutting guys loose. Howdy, fellas. Just gonna pretend this is my, I'm gonna roll a 1 on sneak, but a natural 20 on violent outbursts.
One on sneak, but A 20 on
Throat slitting.
luck of people actually seeing you.
It's bizarre that this is working. Well, I don't know if we'll get into any other topics.
I mean, we've dealt with some good ones.
No, I'm just
My
saying.
goodness, those
We,
were some good topics. It's got a thing. It's
I don't want any of you. I
Plots.
want to cut this guy's throat.
opinions, violence between. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know how you fix culture. Obviously, you have to fix it via culture, but that's the problem is when the culture is wrong, how do you show that? I guess you can only show it by outbreeding them. Raise your own kids with high standards, I suppose, is the only answer. You have something to answer for by the fact that you've bothered to show your children that awful Grinch movie.
I have not been a part of that, so you will remove me from that sentiment.
Well, you should have you should have defended them against it then.
Because I do not like that one at all.
Well, yeah, but that's my point. Is they're going to grow up and that's going to be their childhood Grinch movie.
No, it's not.
You don't know that. It very well could be.
And then they'll come back to it, and it'll be an Indie in the cupboards.
Yeah, but you think that. But what if the nostalgia blinds them forever? What if because you exposed it to them at this age, they will? That's. What if that's become a core memory?
What I'm going to say is that quality, the amount of quality that they see will supersede and overshadow.
I don't know about that.
That's
I think
what happened with me and Indie in the cupboard. I came back to it and I went, "This is trash."
Yeah, but I think you've also undergone a deliberate sophistication arc of like you've chosen to like better things. Someone who just liked, well, I won't name names, but I think you'll know who I'm talking about. Someone who liked something as a kid may continue to like it because that's just how they grew up. And they don't seek more sophistication. They just think, yeah, I liked it because I've liked it, and I'm just going to keep on liking it.
I don't know who you're talking about
Well,
because you're being awfully vague.
Well, I'm having to because I'm trying to save face. I'm just saying, not everyone chooses sophisticated things, and so therefore, the stuff they're exposed to as a kid is the only metric they have of quality. So if something is terrible, and what they were raised on was terrible, they'll think it's good. And thus they will be wrong forever.
Are you alright? I might need a moment.
Oh, he's going to pass a kidney stone.
You cannot delay.
Because that's all I'm saying is I just go, yeah, you know what? No, my job is actually to be your aesthetic filter. There will be no art in this house that isn't up to my standards. You will not watch trash films. You will not read garbage storybooks. You will read The Odyssey. I actually think you could. I think you'd end up with some pretty fascinating children reading them. Read Shakespeare,
But the Herodrim had other enemies.
Greek myths and whatnot.
By the time I was 10,
I don't know. I think you'd certainly raise.
I lived a good life.
I don't know what would happen to them, but I think they wouldn't like the Grinch. That's what I'll say. Because yeah, it's just. I guess, yeah, you got to value aesthetics.
That shot lingered way too long.
It's
The only life that
lingering in
matters
reverse now.
is the one with
We're
Idris.
going to zoom in one shot and then we'll slowly back away.
But we have to find her first.
Well,
And that we will.
so I guess what we're saying is aesthetics are important and you have to enforce them on your children. It's not entirely untrue though. My mom was always like trying to make me pay more attention to like fashion and dressing nice, and I just wanted to wear the same sweatshirt every day.
Not enough.
And
Some weeks we lose as many as
you know, you do kind of have to. It's like, no, you're gonna have to present yourself better than this, even if you don't want to. And at the same time, I think you also have to present not only yourself but things to yourself better than that.
Well, But cultural pressure is a part of how that's accomplished.
Well,
And if
yeah.
you don't have enough people.
This is my
giving
point. Is
cultural
it's
pressure-
it's got to outbreed them.
Well, that's yeah.
You have to raise enough people that demand quality, that the people who don't demand quality can just suck it. People who are going to someday really miss Hallmark movies, and when they finally go extinct, I will dance. And I will say, you can die with them if you insist. I'm going for the light. I don't know what it is, but I'm having it. Come on, pick it up. Is this just a natural occurring phenomenon? Is this just a part of this cave? Lads, what... Hang on, I don't think we need to fight. I think we can all unify around this. What is this thing? Just gonna tell me there's a mysterious glowing orb in the camp and none of you have thought to investigate it? I guess they are orcs. This is what happens when you don't enforce aesthetics, children. You end up as uncultured orcs. Don't even appreciate giant glowing orbs in the middle of their camp. Yeah, there is a computer. They were using it as a breadboard because I don't know what it is. Oh, no, thanks for joining the party, pal. You're a little late.
I went back. It is a toilet, but it's not plumbed in. It's just a vase with crap in it.
I'm starting to think we shouldn't have done this mission. I should have gotten to the mission.
Time to spill some Uruk blood.
Yeah, you do that. Do I gotta put my knife away between each animation? Oh! Okay, I thought he was dead. Alright, one more. Whoa! We got an orc spazzing out. Oh, it was 2 orcs. Hi, fellas. Ew. Ew. That's... Ew! They actually animated maggots in his face. That's... Oh. I'll take care of them.
We're gonna remove those maggots.
Call
one at a time.
Dr. Celebrimbor, DDS. I'll have those maggots out of you in no time. I will, however, put something else in. Fear of execution, buddy. You should be having much bigger fears. You got bigger fish to fry, as they say.
Bigger maggots to
Excise? I don't even know what do you do to maggots.
metastasize.
They have probably. I don't even know what you do to maggots. Excise, maybe. Don't you see? He's got maggots in his face. You should be on my side. Why are you attempting to stop me? I'm helping the man.
Just let me cure you.
Just let me purify you. Thank you. Now I can pick this up. Ew, gross. Where's the guy I'm here for? Ah. Alright. Can we be done with this now? Oh, our sword. Why is our sword only now glowing blue in front of orcs? Or is it just for this mission? Rescue the final Gondorian. Alright. And we'll call it a wrap. Whoop.
Having your day.
Oh, okay. That was weird.
Captain Baronel.
Karis, are there any others?
Idril, she's alive. We were on our way to the fighting pit, and we were captured. She escaped. If I know Idril, that's where she's headed.
She's alive? She's alive. And dead.
Are we gonna have a weird love triangle between us and the chick and that guy? Was there ever?
Just between those three.
It's a gay triangle with a woman in the middle for some reason.
Well,
The secret is she's all of our various confidants, but we don't know that. We're all telling our secrets to her. Oh, why? Blood sport? Heck yes. Alrighty, well. What shall we discuss next time to cure our cultural ills? Talk about feng shui again. I had more to say on that too.
about we fully unpack misogyny.
Don't get me started.
Or rather, the lack thereof.